3, 2.
Before I go to my buddy John Fitch for Mixed Martial Mindset, I'm a little flustered, guys. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little flustered if you just tuned in 15 minutes ago, and I'd be surprised if you did. So because you'd be the core of the Burmese Brigade, but the entire channel has been demonetized due to harmful content, and it's unbelievable. I've never gotten a strike. My channel's been around since 2007. I've put up over 1,100 videos in the last 12 months. Think about that. Over 1,100 videos in the last 12 months. No strikes whatsoever. I'm not a racist. I'm not a bigot. I've never called for violence. I back everything I say up with facts. And we're going to get into that censorship. We're obviously going to have to talk coronavirus because there's not much else out there. But John Fitch is with me as always. There is some MMA news. And John, you said you had something to break right here, right now, exclusively on Mixed Martial Mindset.
I just got word that because of the whatever shelter in place, whatever, that they are shutting the dispensaries down in California to non-medicinal patients.
Wow. And Trump's on right now with his press conference. I'm hearing there's going to be more and more of a lockdown. Everybody who thinks this is over May 1st, I hate to tell you guys, it isn't. And that's one of the reasons I'm getting demonetized.
I want to start taking bets. We should run a pool on the date they tell us that it's going to be extended. Right? I say the 16th. I say we find out by the 16th. It's probably what day is Friday? We gotta. They'll do it on a Friday night.
That's quick. Well, before we get there, guys,
the 17th. I'm guessing the 17th. They tell us that they got to push it past the 30th.
So you got 11 days from today. So we got one more broadcast until then midweek.
That's my bet.
I'll tell you what, if it is on the 17th, me and you are doing a special broadcast for that. JohnFitch.net is the website. And guys, I got to tell you, you might find a JasonBurmis.net because he's got all the good stuff up here, including a blog. And where's the newsletter? Where can I find that?
You scroll down to the bottom and you can sign up for the newsletter.
So newsletter on the bottom. I might have to do that. And we both, by the way, have a Rockfin.
Stay in the loop.
And if they kick me off of YouTube, it's only going to be Rockfin. So rockfin.com/JasonBurmis. And they could kick me off. In fact, if I get kicked off of YouTube, this is the only place you're going to find Mixed Martial Mindset. And you'll find it on Twitter, but it won't be on YouTube. And maybe we'll stream it on John's channel if he's brave. But, I mean, that's brave, John, at this point. So before we get started, just so everybody understands what happened to me, I didn't even know this part. Basically, I went to my channel and I'm like, oh, well, there's no monetized or demonetized markers over on my channel anymore. That's bizarre. And then I hit to see if there was a thing that says I'm no longer eligible because of harmful content. And then we hit the little what's harmful content. Inappropriate language. I mean, people curse on this all the time. Rogan's monetized, let's be honest. It's not like, I've made a living off of saying cunt nugget a million times, okay? Violence, we talk about organized violence here. We don't promote it any other way. Adult content, I'm sorry.
Organized brain damage, yeah.
Yeah, we're not pro brain damage here. We're pro rules and regulations. Then we have hateful content. That's ridiculous. Incendiary or demeaning. I mean, that's so broad. You could throw that with everybody. But
that's really broad.
Then we have recreational drugs and drug-related content. Not so much here. You really have to listen in for any kind of drug-related content or listen to the dispensaries are closing. That's actual news. Tobacco-related content. Again, we're not smoking bogeys. Firearms-related content. I've never had a gun on air. Controversial issues. And
I've had my guns on air.
Let's see them, John. That's
a strike right there. Demonetized.
It's over.
That's what happened.
So there we are, and here's the real irony. And then we'll talk about Dana White, Dirty Dana, and the new revelations about that CD lawsuit. I know you can't wait.
Oh, because I was following this a while ago. I thought it was one of the Fertitta brothers.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did.
Several years ago. This was coming out and bubbling out, and people were talking about it. And it was all the writing in the paper. There's like some articles about it. They all said it was a well-known businessman in Las Vegas, and he was tied to some casinos. So my first thought was Fertitta's.
Yeah, and you're kind of right because Baby Dana might be even an illegitimate Fertitta brother. Did I say that? I don't know. You never know. They did grow up together. But folks, again. To just reiterate how arbitrary the YouTube system is, all right? I still haven't gotten an email saying, hey, fuck you, your channel's been demonetized. But what did I get? My last video, New York nurses, because again, I talked to 2 nurses, and we're actually going to overview that information again here that I know that I bartended with, and they told me the truth about what was going on down there, and I dare repeat it, but it got remonetized because it was real. Of course, huge update. Cuomo takes advantage with unbelievable new reform. Yes, now child pornography peddlers, sexual traffickers, people that fund terrorism are now eligible for bail. That was real. I showed you that. It's real. All right. They also released 3 child predators. I'm going to show you that. That's real. 3 of my videos are suitable for all advertisers. Literally, your video is suitable. Literally the last, I think it was, what was it? We did it 13 out of 15 and then 16 out of 20. We're all remonetized. And yet they just pulled the entire plug on my channel. That just shows you, John, authoritative sources who don't want, independent voices can pull the trigger at any time. And censorship is a very real thing.
Yep.
And speaking 100%. Of censorship, so let's talk about this thing. This is a 5-year-old case, and Dana was basically able to keep his name out of it. Like you said, it was supposedly a successful businessman. Run down what exactly happened here.
So the deal was, when I read about it years ago, was that some businessman hooked up with a stripper from Spearmint Rhino, and then flew her to Brazil for something, for business. And then they had sex, and she videotaped it. And then her boyfriend, the stripper's boyfriend, was trying to seek compensation. He was either blackmailing or he was trying to sue, or some kind of shenanigans was going on there. And I didn't know. I figured, when they went to Brazil, I was like, I could very easily be one of Fertitas. Like, that was my thought first off, because they had mentioned that there's casinos and whatever involved. But it could have been anybody else, rich or somebody famous in Vegas too. But I just kind of assumed that because I thought, like, why? I don't know. It's like you read in between the lines. Like, why was this that big of a deal that they wanted to write about it? I think somebody knew who it was, and that's why they wrote it.
Well, did you hear? All right. So the reason why it got back in the news is because they actually ran a sting operation on this guy. Like, Dana actually met up with him with some of the money. And that's when they were able to get the guy for extortion. And now this is kind of all leaked out into the tabloids. It shouldn't surprise people that Dana White and men like him are sleeping with strippers, just like it shouldn't surprise people that Donald Trump and people like him are sleeping with Stormy Daniels. I don't know where the big gotcha moment is. Like, are you not paying attention? So, it's business as usual. It's shady as usual. And speaking of shady as usual, Trump had a big call with all these members of sports and sports entertainment. The conference call, Vince McMahon, just prior to the debacle that was WrestleMania this year. I don't know if you caught it.
I saw it. My first one ever.
It's your first one ever?
Me and Chris Tinkle, we watched yesterday for a while. It was my first WrestleMania ever.
Well, I'll say this. I didn't watch last night because the previous night was so horrible without an audience. And it's not like I can watch wrestling anyway. But without an audience, it was so fucking tough. Like, you hear and see every little piece of stage nonsense. And without the thrill of the crowd and people buying into it and the big production value, as much as they tried to give it that, it just wasn't there. Now is the question, can Dana pull this off? UFC 249, as far as I know, the location is still undisclosed. And he's saying Gaethje Ferguson, he was supposed to announce the entire card. I'll Google it right now. But as far as, right before this broadcast, it hasn't been up. What are your thoughts?
Oh, man, I've said it before, but the whole situation here ought to be screaming at people. The only 2 organizations that employ independent contractors that are forcing or continuing trying to do work in entertainment are these 2 organizations. And it should be no surprise that they have the exact same business model. Right? They are the most exploitive businesses out there in entertainment today. The people that work for them are the most exploited independent contractors working today in this country. when you get your workers brainwashed to a point where like they're really willing to risk or whatever, because I don't know what, like I don't see any boxers trying to do this or talking shit about trying to do this. Like
I mean, the
it's
way I'm looking at it is this. It's also going to be one of those rah-rah propaganda moments for the nation, whether people realize it or not. If this gets
well, yeah,
done,
I know it is. I know that is too, but I just I don't know.
I'm
It's
not
just
for it in that
it seems
sense. I'm
silly.
just saying it's going to be used
I'm
that way.
I'm for it in the rah-rah sense to cheer people up if the athletes are making at least minimal 50% of the proceeds. Because everybody's gonna freaking watch.
Yeah, but
Every fighter on that card should get pay-per-view
it's
points.
true. But do you really think at that point it's
Everyone.
pay-per-view? I think by that. All right, John. I hate to put
I
put
mean,
it
it's
out there like
free,
that.
free, but they should get extra bonuses. Everybody on that card should get like a $500,000.
I think they should all
Something
get money
something
anyway. Hell, we're printing
ridiculous.
it out of nowhere, right? And fucking everybody's getting a supposed check. We getting into that in a second. Exactly. So I'm
Make
not
make
in
them
defense
fight
there.
to the death, and they get a free test kit.
So that's 13 days away, the 19th, right? Or is it, well, it'd be on what day is exactly? The 18th? It has to be. What's today?
Mm-hmm.
It's on the 18th?
18/6. Yeah,
Okay. So we're 12 days away from that.
12 days.
National bank runs by then may be unlikely, but already did you see, I think it was in Ohio? Fucking
Mm-hmm.
people lined up to get their fucking money. Right now, again, it's only by appointment where I'm at. The restrictions, dude, they barely started. You know those drones are in New York now? Have you seen them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the drones are now
Tweet
in
it
New
out.
York.
People all agree it's kind of freaky.
Listen, there's no doubt this is real. We're being attacked with a bioweapon. And, I'm going to disappoint some people here that are just here for the martial arts, but I think that Fitch needs to see and hear these things as well. This one is from one of my nurse friends. Again, anybody can look into it. I'm right next to two colleges, huge nursing program, lots of hospitals here. These girls come upstate, they go back downstate. So I said, hey, not sure where you're at these days, but I am sure you're super busy right now with the madness, which is why I'm contacting you. This was 3 days ago, by the way. I'm going to recontact her. Care to tell me how it is on the ground working in a hospital right now? Hey, Jason, I'm in the heart of it in Queens, so my hospital is very busy with the virus, and people are sick. Most of them are between the ages of like 30 and 70, and lots have been put on ventilators. Many of them could have benefited from a less invasive treatment called BiPAP or CPAP. But they aren't doing that for COVID patients because they say it spreads the viral particles more. In other words, if they get intubated, then it's less likely that they'll infect the staff. At least that's what they believe. Okay. So many people are kind of forced into being more critical out of the gate. So it's hurting them. Also, my hospital is busy, but other hospitals close are not busy at all. My ER currently has 110 patients with 15 people waiting. The hospital 5 minutes down the road that is just as big has 56 patients with 2 people in the waiting room. And remember, these are just the COVID patients alone, okay? And everything else is shut down. And by the way, one of those nut jobs, Fitch, yesterday from the Film Your Hospital movement, like one of these grifter YouTuber guys, he called me while I was in the shower yesterday, recorded it, put it on the web. All right. He may be the reason I got demonetized. I'm not sure. He's that kind of guy that'll try to sabotage people, like a real piece of shit. So anyway, this is a virus I don't understand at all. I honestly think it's like nanobots or some crazy shit like that, and they are selectively killing or making the illness worse for some people. Like everyone I work with has been exposed multiple times. None of us here, as of yet, have been sick, but people's family members that they live with are dying. It's all over the place. I know people are sick because I'm living and caring for it, but there is some kind of an agenda going on, and that's scaring the crap out of me. Now, scarier yet is my friend that works in the pediatric unit, and she's now taking people up to 30. And she's saying it can be people that are healthy. The comorbidities seem to go along with death, but that doesn't mean you won't have a go of it and you can have death. And basically, they're saying once you're on a ventilator, Fitch, and you're not going to love these numbers. And a lot of people aren't going to want to accept these numbers. But once you're on a ventilator, you got between a 70 and 90% chance of death, depending on where you're at. So if you're on a ventilator, it's almost a wrap. Now, wrap your head around this. What does Cuomo keep saying we need more of in New York? Fucking
Ventilators.
And he's saying what, 30, 40,000? So
Wasn't that one doctor saying that he thought that the ventilators might be the problem?
yes, I played it. Well, that's the thing. So those
Yeah.
girls, I messaged them and got that information before that video came out of that doctor, who I think everybody really does need to go check him out, because he's got some really good information. You know, you got to stop treating it like it's the flu. It's not. He's telling you it's not. She's telling you it's not. My other friend is saying the fucking same thing. You know, she read the post of the other nurse and she's like, she's not wrong. You know? So, look, this is real. People need to realize how real this is. We can't ignore it. There's a reason that Nassau medics are directed now to leave people who are under or over 18, that's any adult, that have a heart attack there on the scene if they haven't been revived in 20 minutes. That's not normal, people. All right? We got to stop acting like military now on the streets of New York is normal. Outside of the tents, and by the way, those tents, they're screening centers in some cases. They're going to be used as morgues in others. And that's real too. You can get it as a teenager. You know, again, no, and I'll say this. The one in the pediatric unit swore to me that no kids died. I asked her afterwards, and she said no one under 18 has died, but they can still get fucked up. And she had to extubate a kid. So one of those kids did go on a ventilator. He did have comorbidities, whatever that means. You know, compromised immune system. But this kid was 16. He fucking almost died. You know, again, just because they're saying it can't hit you, nonsense. A quarter of the paramedics are calling in because they don't want to deal with this or they're sick. All right, almost 10,000 people, folks, workers, and they're using forklifts to move the bodies. By the way, are not showing up now. New York City is now talking about using the park not as a screening center. You notice how it's been empty. And they haven't used it as hospitals, and they still have the Javits Center. No, that's where they're going to keep the fucking bodies. All right, and they're talking about mass burials there. If you don't want to believe it now, I don't know what to fucking tell you. I don't know how you fake this shit and how my friends are lying to me. All right, so let's continue on to the terrible. What do we got here? So everybody wants to talk about the flu. You don't lose 3 family members and then have your husband on a ventilator with the flu, no matter how bad the season is. Yes, I get it. They had comorbidities. 2 of the parents were in their 70s, but her brother was in his 50s. He was 51, and he dropped dead too. And her husband, also in his 50s, currently on a ventilator. So you can sit there and, again, try to compare this thing, but, you know, it's got bioweapon written all over it. I've gone over 1 million times now for the past month that if the media really wanted to hype up fear, all they would have had to do was play this press conference by family members that watched their family members drop dead one after another at that Kirkland place in Seattle. But they didn't hype that up. Why didn't they? By the way, I want to say this. The narrative, John, I know I'm ranting and raving here, and I appreciate you listening, but of it just being like China bioweapon, listen, I don't know where this came from. Could have come out of the lab in Wuhan. But even with that Harvard investigation of that one doctor they're talking more and more about on the internet. Remember who else was involved in it? Yale and fucking Saudi Arabia. You notice no one's talking about that. But I talk about it, and now I'm demonetized. Just so weird. Just so weird when you talk about things other people don't. You know. And guys, you know, these are the type of things when they talk about respiratory therapy are really happening to people. I got information from somebody on the ground in Sweden, and they are echoing what that doctor said in his first day. All right.
I thought that Sweden has been kind of not doing anything.
Not yet. Exactly.
Not yet.
So this is like the first day on their big wave. This is from somebody who watches the show and their brother. So his brother just sent this to the family. Hey, guys. So I don't repeat myself 100 times. Amidst the COVID-19 crisis, I started my job transporting patients at Dandy Yard Hospital in Stockholm. The day went well, but was heavy. I saw healthy people, suffering people, and dead people. It was heavy and sobering. In the hospital, we have PPE. That's the protective gear we use frequently. We also will start precautions here at the house, according to advice from Dad. Today, I was in contact with several COVID-19 patients. Everyone exhibits different symptoms, men and women of all ages, mainly between 40 and 90 there. So again, day one went well, but it's a heavy experience. Take care, everyone, and yourselves indoors for now. So in other words, he's saying it's about to get heavy in Sweden. Okay? So the 5G thing, it's everywhere. I want to say this. I'm not promoting 5G. I don't think it's behind this. I think this is a real virus. I think that, the erecting of it during this time is, it's advantageous to them. They're taking advantage of a situation to do so. I don't think it's causing the virus. People are burning them down. People are literally burning them down.
I don't understand I don't get
the connection
cross of 5G signaling and virus. Why would anybody think they're related? These are the flat earthers pushing this.
I would say this. They know that because it has a different hertz level, like 60 hertz is the one they're talking about. But remember, it's actually more than that. There's different types of 5G. There's the repeaters. There's the one that's coming in from the satellites, etc. In general, it does pierce your skin, unlike 4G technology, which is LTE technology for the most part. And it can change your DNA for sure. Now, a lot of these people are pointing to the fact that one doctor, remember how the nurse said, like crazy nanobot shit? Now, listen, I know her. We've never had conspiracy talk. She's never seen one of my movies. I was just like her bartender and boss. You know what I mean? That's all. And she was just another nurse. However, the one guy from Harvard they worked with did work with nanobot technology. And nanobot technology is real. So I'm not saying that's it, but it sure lets that conspiracy run amok. You know what I mean? That they could be controlling it with different waves. My friends at TruthStream over the years have done a lot of work on that. But yeah, no, in certain countries, I mean, this is in China, they are ripping the towers down. Straight up. People are setting them on fire, ripping them down. And look, if it's without your consent,
you think maybe that it could be a miscommunication too with them tearing the towers down. Maybe they're tearing the towers down because they don't want to be spied on, so they're killing the towers.
Well,
so the government can't communicate, or they can't be spied on as easily. That could be part of it, and people are just misconstruing.
I don't know.
Their
In
actions.
China, just to even kind of exist, you got to have a cell phone issued by the government. You have to have one of two apps. Alibaba's one of them, and another one's.
Well, that's like the first thing I would do then if I was going to revolt is get rid of my phone and then tear down the towers.
I'm with it.
I would.
Don't get me wrong, but like it's not just going on in China. Like there was a guy, I think it was in Australia, somebody's doing it. It's starting to go pretty wild. So I do want to address this quick. I talked to John about how I got like the weird phone call from one of these people. Listen, the idea that this guy didn't push and promote Q and have Corsian all over the place. Maybe later he went against Q. He pushed it. The guy's a grifter. He's Grifty McGrift. Look at this stuff. This is trash journalism. So again, think about what this guy did to me. He somehow got my phone number, called me in the morning while I was in the shower, recorded it, and then like a jackass, hold on, let's show it to everybody. It's this one over here. I think it's his main video over here. Yeah, there it is. Photoshopped me in the shower and then put my phone call on the internet. That's the guy.
Class act.
That's the guy going to hospitals and telling you nobody's dying. So you can believe him, a guy that obviously doesn't, know.
No, so I have two of my friends have been affected by the coronavirus.
Let's hear about it.
So one was an old heavyweight that wrestled at Purdue. It was either his wife's sister's husband or his brother-in-law, something like that. It could have been his wife's brother, something like that. He got it. He passed away. They buried him last week, or they're burying him tomorrow, or something like that. And then my other buddy was a 197 pounder wrestler at Purdue. He lives in Alaska. So he was in Alaska and he caught it. And this was the fall, like November or something like that. So he felt a little sick for a few days. And then, he caught pneumonia from it. So he self-isolated in his house for 14 days in his room. And the rest of his family members were still in the house. And nobody else got it.
Okay.
And he got tested. It was confirmed coronavirus back then. So
and he got out of it though.
He got out of it, but he's a physical beast. He said he was pretty much laid up for 2 weeks, but he was fine.
Well, that's good. I mean, listen again, and a lot of people are asking me, well, how do you know they actually had it? You know, the tests are flawed. Sure, they are, but it's not just coming out of nowhere, and it's doing different things to people's lungs. And I'm sorry, this amount of people don't drop this quickly from the flu. You can believe whatever you want. You can try to put those numbers against pneumonia or how many regular deaths. There's so many people off the roads right now.
There are a lot of arguments which may have some truth to them about just the overall health and condition of human beings today. We're a lot softer, fatter, weaker than we were 100 years ago. You know, we used to have to work 16-hour physical days to survive for millions of years. And then now we're like bloop, 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 and just fucking eating whatever and getting fat. And then we're like, oh my God, people are dying from sick or this cold. Well, yeah. Like how many super like strong, healthy, I still haven't heard of super strong, healthy people.
Oh, I can show you a couple.
You got a couple?
Yeah.
Like, are they dying or are they just getting sick?
No, they're dying. So
wow.
well, there's that one. All right. So the one person that was super fit, 40-year-old, looked like a bodybuilder. And then there was a 51-year-old bodybuilder who was in good shape still. But
who knows what kind of organ damage, if they're like not a natural bodybuilder.
That's also true. That's also true.
Yeah, that's a highly plausible thing. Their kidneys could shut down or whatever, and then.
I'm just saying it could get you. I agree with you. Remember a while back when we were talking about this, I was like, everybody's joking about, you know, South America and people from Mexico coming up. And I'm like, they got probably stronger fucking immune systems than we do. Yeah. And I was just thinking to myself, you know, we're so obese. There's so many diabetes and so many comorbidities. And our immune systems are so knocked down from medications. And people don't realize that. And, you know, here's the deal. Like, I got the text yesterday. You know, I tried my damnedest to get my ex-girlfriend to come up here and just said, look, your job's not even going to be there. You know what I mean? And she joked, John, and this was over a month and a half ago. And like, you know, when I was first talking to her about her, and then like when it first started to go down, she sent me a video of her like coughing. Well, yesterday she talked to me after like maybe not a week and a half or 2 weeks, you know, me saying, hey, you still got a chance to come out. And she hasn't been able to smell or taste for the last 3 days. She's got a headache, and they don't want to test her. And, you know, she's just supposed to stay indoors. And she's like in her mid-20s. So, I'm sure she's going to be okay. But at the same time, everybody treated this like, oh, it can't happen. It's not going to happen. I'll tell you what. One of my rough and tumbler buddies, who I've seen just fuck people up in the bars. One of those littler guys that fucks people up. He's from Poland. He's straight from Poland, like one of those guys, still goes to Poland all the time. And he used to roll with a rough bunch. Like when I was in my late teens and 20s, I would avoid them like the plague and just be friendly when I could because I just never wanted to be in a situation. Well, one of those guys, and he did some pro kickboxing, he's in New York City. He's getting like 50, 60 views on his videos, but he's on day, I think, 18. I haven't watched his video today. And he's like, look, man, this ain't the fucking flu. It feels like I have glass in my lungs. He's like, I don't know how else to describe it. He's like, sometimes I feel like I have no energy. And you know, this is, you know, a guy who's got no comorbidities. He's not fat. You know, he's fucking hurting. I think the people with the stronger immune systems, like you said, will more than likely make it. But what I don't understand is if the hydroxychloroquine is real, and, you know, this is yet another doctor saying it is, or the vitamin C is real, why aren't we focusing on manufacturing and getting a ton of that instead of fucking ventilators that kill 80% of the people and fucking drones that tell people to stop fucking to socially distance? Like if this isn't straight, like if I had shown you this fucking 6 months ago on the show, you would have been like,
and the people like I cannot this is like 100% dystopian for me because the people are just walking around like nothing's going on. I'd be like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Like I started throwing shit at it. What are you doing? Are you kidding me? No, oh, that's just our overlord telling us what to do. It makes no. It's wild, dude. It's like I've seen that movie. I see how it ends. No,
it never ends good. That's the other thing. Even if the hero like wins at the end, most people are taken out, and there's always a shittier sequel.
Most people are dead. Everything's destroyed.
Have you been watching those movies? I watched 12 Monkeys last week for the first time in a long time.
Mm.
And that one was pretty interesting because it got a lot of it right. Terry Gilliam, very smart, and Brad Pitt gives a really good performance. I'm kind of glad
He's
I
great now.
rewatched that one. Yeah.
That's a fun movie. That's a really good movie.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good. And I suggest that one to people because it
When did that
also
come out? It's 90s?
95, I think.
Yeah, man. That was the peak. That was the peak of our fucking movie.
You're
That was
not
peak of
wrong. That's like
cinema,
right after
90s.
Gump and like Pulp Fiction. Like all 94 was the year. That's the one that had what was it? What's the one with
Charlie's
fuck.
Angels?
Charlie's Angels? The girls love those. With my girls, they like the 90s. They just watched the remake, right? They love Charlie's Angels in Full Throttle. You know, dancey, campy. When PG-13 wasn't really what PG-13 is now. Now PG-13, there's like a transgender orgy going on in the background.
Oh my God. Well, there's some things that are crazy about PG-13 back like was it Monster Squad or something? I tried to watch out with the boys. I had to turn it off.
Really? I love
Yeah,
Monster
he
Squad.
started yelling, call him the fag word, right? Like the
Oh, that's true. That's true.
he started calling like I was just like, whoa, we can't
Was that Ethan Hawke?
like I remember watching that when I was little, but I was like, I can't have them run to school and saying that. They're gonna blame me. I guarantee they're gonna blame me, the fucking middle-aged fucking white guy.
Yeah, but dude, like, I was just watching, what was it? You know, rewatching South Park every once in a while, late night when my American Pickers is over and I'm fucking scrolling through whatever. I'll catch an old South Park on one channel and like, it's the one where Cartman plays a robot. Butters thinks that he's a real robot, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of it, like Cartman's sitting next to the general, like the military guy, because this whole military conspiracy goes on because they're going to harvest the robot's information and see if it has a soul, guys. That's the subplot. And he's sitting next to him, and then they're showing the video of Cartman like playing with dolls and like dressing like a girl or something and saying something. And the fucking whatchamacallit, the general looks over and he goes, "You're such a little faggot, kid." And I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm like, how old is this now? And I'm like, I'm
20
surprised
years
the
old.
word police haven't taken that down, even though it's still hilarious.
Well, they always say that certain people are grandfathered in from old stuff. Like South Park gets grandfathered in.
Yeah, but you know what?
I don't
Is
know
that
why,
true?
like-
Like, is Sanford and Son grandfathered in? And what is our family? What is it? It's our family, right? With
Our
the
Family,
Archie
yeah.
Bunker? Yeah.
Yep. No, there's a lot of stuff that just is not. It's incongruent with what they say and they believe and whatever today. They'd have to burn everything from the past.
I mean, The Honeymooners is amazing, but if there isn't a case for severe domestic violence going on in that house, bang, zoom, Alice, to the moon. I mean, he must at least 2 to 3 times a show threaten to punch his wife in the face.
How? Right in the kisser.
Right in the kisser. Let's see. So this is interesting.
God.
Boris
And-
Johnson
and-
has been moved.
Yeah. So if Boris Johnson doesn't die and the homeless people aren't dead, like,
I'll tell
I
you
still
what,
think
man.
this might attack the weak
If
and the
Johnson
sick.
goes out, I got more respect for him than most politicians because number one,
What if
hasn't
he?
called-
What if this is assassination?
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What if what if he's just got the sniffles and they're like, no, you've got to sit down,
It
drink
took him a
this.
while, but he got him out of the EU. He did. He got him out. You know, as fucking without teeth as it was, he still moved them away from the ruling class. And
Yeah.
I mean, just look at every other globalist like Tony Blair and fucking Gordon Brown, the last 2 UK prime ministers other than Cameron. And David Cameron also is a globalist. Those 2 guys literally came out and were like, we can solve this problem with world government. We love world government.
Yep.
Like-
Anything for world government.
Yeah, except for I
solution to
didn't-
everything.
I didn't hear that from Boris. So, you know, just something to keep in mind. Also interesting, John, because we know that China told the truth, told the entire truth, folks, about the human rights abuses that go on there. They're now on the Human Rights Council of the United
I
Nations.
know. What is this crap? Didn't they put? I mean, the UN's been a joke for a long time. They put Saudi Arabia on the Human Rights Council, didn't they?
Yeah, dude.
Who's on the? I think the UN Human Rights Council right now is China, Saudi Arabia, Oh God, what's the other? North Korea.
All I know is that a lot more
Like,
than 3,000 fucking people died in China. All right, of this thing,
oh yeah.
and they
Wasn't
obviously
there?
lied.
There's an article about the cell phones, right?
Yeah,
A lot of their cell phones are millions of cell phones are just not active anymore.
Listen, I'm not even going to try to throw out a number because I'm not trying to scare people, but clearly they lied. Clearly more people have died in first world nations. And you want to put him on the Human Rights Council? We live in bizarro world. Bizarro world. And finally, guys, as I've
Well,
been
the
saying for a
WHO
long time,
World Health Organization is freaking their lapdog. They are owned by China.
the World Health Organization, the United Nations, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the World Bank, all these players at Event 201, now's the
Bill
time to
Gates,
dig in, folks, because that's the
Epstein's
real enemy.
buddy.
They're the bullshitters. They're the ones telling you this came
Epstein
from a
was real tight
bat.
with Bill Gates.
Yo, Bill Gates,
They were close friends.
watch his back. Like Bill Gates, I'll tell you what, a lot of people ain't happy with you right now. I'm one of those people, ain't so happy. And a lot of people aren't buying into your fucking bullshit, kid. Again, start owning up. Now this is gaining ground. Theory coronavirus leak from a Chinese lab is no longer discounted. Really? Really, you think that a virus that pops up out of nowhere doesn't attack children and biomedically does what no other virus has done in history in a short period of time? You don't think that's locked down 3/4 of the globe? You don't think that could have been bioweapon? We've never written or done any bio warfare in the world, according to Santa Claus. All right, so I don't know where this comes from. So as prisons are emptying, yeah,
This is
child
ridiculous.
rapists.
Child rapist ordered released to keep him safe. Yeah, because we need to keep all the child rapists
They
safe.
let out
Jesus
Takashi,
Christ.
6ix9ine. They let him out, child
Jesus
rapist.
Christ.
John, wait. Let's let out some more child rapists. How about here in New York?
Let's bury them. Okay, put them out. Take them out of prison. Let's bury them neck deep in the beach, 6 feet apart from each other.
So you
Let's
want to
do
do
that.
the creep show death, right? Remember creep show? I think that's how Leslie Nielsen takes out Ted Dan. No, Ted Danson takes out Leslie Nielsen, I think. Or no, Nielsen takes out Danson. It's an old movie. So
Oh yeah.
a lot of people want to say that, again, this is a hoax. This isn't happening. I watched a video from the Schaefer Funeral Homes. This guy has, I believe it was 5 funeral homes. He says he usually deals with 25 families a week. All right. He is dealing with 75 families a week right now with the place shut down. This is all me just, getting censored. So yeah, in case you didn't know, guys, YouTube pretty much shut it down today. So really need your help over here on the GoFundMe. Just going to say, I just lost a pretty big chunk of change for my family. And I know a lot of you did too. And I know a lot of you are laughing at me because you're not an essential worker either. And you're like, oh, Burbis is fucked too now, huh? But I don't find it funny. I'm pretty upset about it. I'm going to try to fight it. I mean, you can't fight. Who knows when you can fight? One FC was supposed to have...
I can't teach seminars. I can't do personal training sessions. Luckily, I do have a book coming out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess people can read.
My,
I mean, I don't know what
my
they're gonna
wake
pay
up
with.
book. I have a wake up book that's available now on Amazon, and it's going to be available on Kindle this week. And we'll do the launch later this week when both platforms are available. But yeah, you can look out for the Weight Cut Bible soon.
And you did do a quarantine update. John Fitch Knows Nothing this week.
Yep.
What was the
Rockfin.
chatterbox on that?
That's it's just me cooking my protein. It shows my meal prep for my protein that I make. It's just ground beef for this one, but it's just a quick example of the protein I cook when I eat along with my meal plan, the one I write about in the book.
I'm so flustered. I don't even know what to do. I mean, who am I going to talk to? Am I going to talk to my, elite friends that are hired by YouTube that don't want to stick their neck out for me, and I wouldn't want to stick my neck out for me either? Like,
I don't know, man.
I don't know, brother. So Fitch,
wild.
what's your now that you're kind of seeing it? I saw also your video where you were at Costco or whatever, and they were social distancing, and everybody was 6 feet apart, and now we're here with the lines.
A list of goods they don't have in the store on the outside.
Yeah. Oh, my buddy's outside. That's funny. I wonder if he wants to work out. That'd be great. Well, I'm gonna tell him to come in. Fitch, I think we can wrap up this horror show. What do you think happens next week? Where are we at next week?
Like my prediction is the 17th. We get word that it'll be late. The 17th, we'll get word that we're pushing it back till end of May.
You think that's it, right? They do it 1 month at a time, June 1st.
Yep, slowly. We just need a little bit more time. We're almost there. They just keep doing it. And then, yeah. So, like, they'll do it on a Friday. They'll announce it late on a Friday. And then they'll flood the news with all the fight stuff from the 18th to drown out the bad news of, oh, we got another month of this.
If Boris Johnson is the first one to go, what a big deal is that? I mean, he'd be the first high-profile, especially politician. I mean, does that start to change the game right out of the gates, or what?
I think a lot more people would be concerned, since when you have access to all of the best stuff and you still die, that's a problem.
Yeah, or he doesn't have access to all the best stuff because they don't want him. Guys,
Or they want, yeah, or then you have the conspiracy theories that it was a hit job by the UN or the United Nations or the European
the predator
Union.
class, the United Nations.
What if the European Union? What if it was those
201.
guys? If it was the globalists released the virus because they wanted to take everybody out.
Well, looks that
And
way.
then reform everything with the lockdown, because like everything gets decimated, nobody works, everybody goes bankrupt. What happens? They lock us down, and it's socialism. We have one ruler. It's some king somewhere, some unelected group of bureaucrats will decide everything.
John Fitch turning into Jason Burmis right here on Mixed Martial Mindset. Remember, guys, you can listen to the whole thing over at thegruelingtruth.com. I hope that I mentioned them in the beginning. I might not have, but that's where you get the audio podcast. Hey, if they kick me off of YouTube, we'll still be doing it there. Fitch, love you, and take care, brother.
All right, dude. Take it easy.
Later.